So the work moving forward, we've gone into the mind very deeply. We have been condensed of things that are not us. We are holding in our bodies, storing information from way back then. And if you don't clear it, it becomes stagnant. If you don't recognize that it needs clearing, then you have become that thing. And once you become that thing, you will no longer be able to move freely into the new earth. The work that I specialize in is feeling, holding space for feeling, to feel the pain that is running through your veins, to feel that discomfort that is information and is your power. Because if energy does not move, it becomes explosive. And when it becomes explosive, it explodes into places that were unintended to have that information. So when you don't learn how to master yourself, you become a bomb ready and waiting to explode. At any trigger point, anything could happen. And it's just waiting. If you do not learn how to feel, if you don't hold space for listening, because there is a lot of time in conversation that we only speak to be heard. We don't listen. And if you don't hold equal space for yourself, you can't hold space for another. So Mina, I say, forget creating safe spaces right now. There are no safe spaces that exist in the world. We cannot have safe spaces if we don't have safe people. So that's part of the work. Helping you become a safe person so that if you get triggered, you don't explode, but you know that it's possible and you're capable of exploding, but you don't. Because your explosion needs a certain alchemy. Your power needs to be let out in ways that are generated to create, to bring more life, to bring more play into this world. Because we are living now in a world that is dull, gray. The same things are happening. The same types of people are passing your way. And it is not granting you the opportunity for newness to come within this new earth. So in order for you to become a vibrational match to that which you want, to that which you know you belong to, you have to remove that which is in the way. You have to remove that which is in the way. And that which is in the way are your unfelt feelings, is your unheard voice, is your unheard sadness that has turned into anger. Heal. When we speak healing, we say rewire the brain. You cannot go into heaven if you are not born again. And it says, be ye transformed by the renewal of your mind. You have to transform your mind daily. So Labantu who are still quoting all that stuff from back then and still holding that same vibration, you are holding a very low vibration. And today, my spirit guides were obviously speaking to me, and I was like, are you sure I should be sharing this information? Why me? Like, you've heard of Imbimbim. Those of you are South African, perhaps. Those of you who are non-South African or not aware of that terminology. Imbimbim was a derogatory term used for informants who would be in allegiance with the police during the apartheid days. And that meant that amongst black people, there was separation. That meant that amongst your own, you were to deceive on purpose. And we just have that, we had that physically, and we still have that nowadays, right? Because they used to get paid. And when you move from that energy, they were moving from survival, because obviously that had perhaps a higher pay than wages that you would work in Gadin, or whatever is the work that was that you were doing back then, or they did back then at that particular time, right? And when you are in survival, you are in deep lack. You say that I cannot live or thrive beyond a human being. Do you hear that? I cannot live or thrive or survive without another human being. Then, of course, you're like, of course, right? Now, hear this out. That's both spiritually and physically, but more physically orientated. When we look spiritually, what I got is, oof, what I got is zigcwele impimpi lapha esontweni. They are mpimpis in the church. Lapho usonta khona, gcwele impimpi, spiritual mpimpis, who are spiritually tied to the low vibrational God, the devil. They are impimpi, informants, who are hanging around you. I was like, really, do I have to share this message? Who are hanging around you and are collecting data and information for that energy that is paying them. Because imali is by your attention. And when your attention is on things of low vibrational energy, then your bank account is very low. And I'm speaking energetically, which can transfer. Then when you of the foresight of joy and peace, there's an uprising. So Connie and Bimbi that we have that are churchgoers, and what I got is you can't serve two gods. You can't. You can't be joyful and peaceful and be in fear at the same time. The god of fear is the one tethered to the world. It's the one of lack that I don't have. So when you only cast your visions and attention to that of which you see, that of which you hear, that of which you are vibrating in low energies, you're going to become that. You are going to start serving that, because why? Your attention. You're paying attention. Right now, Spirit is trying to speak to some of you, and they can't get through to you because it's loud. And if you cannot shut off the external world, and go in, you are going to become that which you vibrate and you hear. Because remember, each time you speak, you are casting spells. Now, from your perspective, I could say something that might sound negative, but it is not negative from a certain realm. Do you get what I mean? It's like some people get motivated when they get told like you're not good enough or whatever like that. They get pumped up more. And some are like, tell me I'm not good enough and I crumble. Okay. So it depends from which perspective. That's why it's so important, Uti, when you are engaging with the information. You know, I generally pray before I speak because I needed to not be of the old way of thinking, the fearful way of thinking. It needs to be in a way that is regenerating, that is replenishing, that is rejuvenating, that allows for hope, that allows for peace once the dust has sort of like settled. But you have to feel, and by feeling, you have to hear yourself. Hear how you speak to yourself. How you are speaking to yourself is what you are surrounded by. How you are speaking to yourself is what you are surrounded by. So, when I was meditating earlier this morning, it feels a little bit more intense than 2020 when we had COVID and we lost people. It felt very intense. The heart pain that we are dealing with as a collective. If you can't feel the pain, if you can't feel heavy and you're always looking for light, and you're not loving that aspect that feels heavy, because that aspect of the heavy was the light that wasn't celebrated. That's why sadness turns into anger, because it was unexpressed. And then it's just waiting for that trigger, that bubble to burst. And it goes back to what I said earlier. If you don't learn to become a safe person, if you don't learn how to become more intentional with your time, intentional with the people you are hanging around with, intentional with the information that you are resourcing yourself with, is it something that is allowing you to become more of yourself? Or is it information that is making you shrink? Because if it is information that is not empowering you to not rely on a human being who doesn't rely on source, on love and joy, and is not expectant of love and joy, that's not what you deserve. You deserve goodness. You deserve this feeling of like, just let's just take a moment because whew, some of you are in deep need of breathing. And you might go, but I'm breathing. When was the last time you took a full breath? I mean, I've got the flu. When was the last time you could be in nature and listen? Listen, because amadlozako, your ancestors, your spirit guides, your angels, the fairies, God, source, universe is trying to connect to you. So it's time for us to feel, to spend time in nature. If you are looking for healing and something from this resonated with you, and you know that you are tired of carrying heaviness, because at least where I stand, I've been doing the healing working. And there's always going to be things that are like, oh, okay, cool, 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 cool. Gotta do, gotta participate. But a lot of what I feel now, that 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 work is constantly shifting between me and then what I'm feeling within the collective. Because what I'm feeling in the collective, guys, it's time for us to, as a collective, heal now. You know, and yeah, I'm just here and ready. But it's time for us to grow into this new earth and to vibrate in love and to vibrate in joy, to be expectant of that, to be safe people, so that whenever we enter spaces, we are safe. We don't have to create spaces. We just, through these conversations, become safer people. Being willing to take accountability now. Start taking accountability for your life, because your parents, your grandparents could only do so much. And it's not diminishing your value, it's not diminishing theirs, it's not saying that they couldn't have done better. Remember, everyone can only do the best that they can with what they have at that particular time. We're moving through cycles, and just because you were vibrant during summer, you might not be as vibrant during winter. So it's being more forgiving by being more forgiving to self, because it's so often that we expect so much from others because we expect it from ourselves. But let's just take accountability. Okay, get in touch with me, let's do a consultation. Let's also be part of the shift by together collectively moving this energy. You know, something in me says maybe at some point in time a collective shifting session. I might just offer a collective shifting session on a Zoom, a call, maybe, so that there's little bugs, just little bugs, visitors. Maybe that's necessary. Tell me if you're interested in, you can just DM me and tell me if you're interested in doing a Zoom group session where we do breath work together and collectively heal with meditation, because it's feeling like it might be that time to put myself out there too on that more bigger scale. Okay, sending you so much love from all of this beauty. All right.